Let me take you back to February 24th, 1978. It's a cold winter evening in Northern California, and 5 friends, Gary Mathias, Jack Madruga, Bill Sterling, Jack Hewitt, and Ted Wire, are gearing up for a night of fun. They're heading out to watch a college basketball game in Chico, about 50 miles from their hometown of Yuba City. Now, these guys weren't your average group. They all shared a love for basketball, and they were part of a team called the Gateway Gators, a special group for people with intellectual disabilities. They had their own big game coming up the next day in the Special Olympics, and they couldn't wait to play. Winning that game meant everything to them. After the game in Chico, they stopped at a convenience store around 10 p.m. to grab some snacks, Hostess pies, candy bars, sodas, just a quick stop before heading home. But here's where things get strange. They never made it home. That night, they vanished without a trace. Days later, their families were frantic. This wasn't like the boys at all. They were responsible and would never just disappear. Police started searching, and soon they found something chilling, a clue that only deepened the mystery. The group's car, Jack Madruga's beloved turquoise and white 1969 Mercury Montego, was discovered on a desolate mountain road in Plumas National Forest. It was 70 miles from Chico and far from their planned route home. The car was stuck in the snow, but it wasn't damaged. It had a quarter tank of gas and the keys were missing. Here's the kicker. Jack Madruga was a careful driver. His family swore he would never take that car onto a rough, unpaved road like this. So how did it get there? And why would the group abandon it? There were footprints leading away from the car, heading deeper into the forest. But the weather was freezing. Temperatures had dropped to below 0 that night. With no proper clothing for the cold, the odds of survival weren't looking good. For months, the search turned up nothing. Then, on June 4th, 1978, a group of motorcyclists stumbled across something horrific in the forest. It was an abandoned U.S. Forest Service trailer, about 19 miles from where the car had been found. Inside, they discovered the body of Ted Wire. Ted's death was tragic and baffling. He had survived in the trailer for up to 13 weeks after the group disappeared. How do we know? His beard had grown long, and he had lost nearly half his body weight, down to just 100 pounds. He was found lying on a bed, wrapped in several layers of sheets, almost like he'd been trying to keep himself warm. But here's what's truly strange. The trailer was stocked with supplies. There was enough canned food to feed all 5 men for months, yet most of it was untouched. There was a fireplace that could have been used for warmth, but no one had lit a fire. Why not? What stopped Ted from taking advantage of these life-saving resources? Even more bizarre, Ted was wearing shoes that didn't belong to him, likely Gary Mathias's shoes. So, where was Gary? And why had Ted been left behind? As the search continued, more bodies were found. Jack Madruga and Bill Sterling were discovered about 11 miles from the car, lying on opposite sides of the same road. Both had died of hypothermia. Their bodies had been scavenged by animals, making it difficult to determine the full extent of their injuries. A few days later, bones belonging to Jack Hewitt were found even farther into the forest. His remains were scattered across a wide area, likely due to animal activity. It appeared that he too had succumbed to the freezing temperatures. But one person was still missing, Gary Mathias. Only his shoes were found in the trailer, suggesting he had either left barefoot or was wearing someone else's footwear. To this day, Gary Mathias has never been found. The Yuba County Five case is like something out of a nightmare. Why did the group drive so far off course? Why didn't they use the food and resources in the trailer? And what happened to Gary Mathias? Let's start with the car. Investigators noted that the Mercury Montego was in perfect condition. No scratches or dents on the undercarriage, even though the road was rough and unpaved. This suggests the car was driven carefully, maybe by someone familiar with the area. But none of the men had any reason to know these remote roads. Then there's the trailer. Why didn't the group stay together? Why didn't they use the supplies to survive? And why did Ted Wire end up alone? These questions only add to the haunting nature of the case. Over the years, people have come up with countless theories to explain what happened. Some make sense, while others are downright eerie. One theory is that the group got lost or disoriented. Maybe they took a wrong turn after the basketball game and ended up in the mountains by mistake. But that doesn't explain why they abandoned the car or why they didn't try harder to survive in the trailer. Another theory involves foul play. Some believe the group encountered someone, maybe a stranger or even someone they knew, who forced them off the road and into the wilderness. But if that's true, why? And where's the evidence? Then there's Gary Mathias. As the only member of the group whose body was never found, Gary's role in this mystery has been heavily scrutinized. He had a history of mental illness, including schizophrenia, though he was managing it with medication at the time. Some speculate that Gary may have had a psychotic episode that led the group into danger. But again, there's no concrete proof. One of the strangest accounts comes from a man named Joseph Shans, who was near the area on the night the group disappeared. Shans claimed he saw a car similar to the Mercury Montego with a group of people standing around it, including a woman holding a baby. He also reported seeing flashlights in the distance. Could this have been the Yuba County Five? And if so, who were the woman and the baby? As with any unsolved mystery, some people have turned to paranormal explanations. The idea of alien abduction or supernatural interference has been floated, especially given the eerie details of the case. While these theories are intriguing, there's no evidence to support them. Still, the sheer weirdness of the Yuba County Five story keeps these ideas alive. The Yuba County Five case has often been compared to the infamous Dyatlov Pass incident in Russia, a similarly chilling story where a group of hikers died under mysterious circumstances. Both cases involve remote locations, unexplained decisions, and unanswered questions. And both have left investigators and the public scratching their heads for decades. Even now, nearly half a century later, the Yuba County Five case remains unsolved. It's a story that haunts the families of the victims, frustrates investigators, and fascinates true crime enthusiasts. What really happened to those 5 men on that cold February night? Was it a case of bad luck, poor decisions, or something more sinister? We may never know. But one thing is certain. The story of the Yuba County Five is a chilling reminder of how quickly the ordinary can turn into the extraordinary, and how some mysteries refuse to be solved.